long time ago BC, and this guy, let's call him Guy 1, has a problem. He wants this pig. However, this pig is owned by this guy. Let's call him Guy 2. But Guy 1 has an idea, so he says to Guy 2, I'll give you my cat if you give me your pig. In other words, he wants to trade. And while Guy 1 might be happy with this trade, Guy 2 thinks to himself, why on earth do I want a cat? So Guy 2 says no. However, after a few hours of back and forth, the two eventually come to an agreement. Soon everybody starts to do this, and within no time the demand becomes too high. And that's where these come in, coins. Coins that could be exchanged for goods. Soon everybody started using coins due to their convenience. Instead of having to haul around objects to trade, you could simply carry coins in your pocket. And then one day, this guy called the goldsmith approaches a group of people and says, if you give me your coins, then I'll give you this piece of paper that basically says, I owe you this amount of money and you can come to collect it whenever you want. With this note, they could then go to any goldsmith to retrieve their money. However, people started using these papers to pay instead of coins. In other words, paper money. The goldsmiths noticed this and they had an idea. They would start giving out loans. They looked a bit like this. When the goldsmiths gave people these loans, they didn't actually get poorer because all these loans were pieces of paper that they had handwritten and assigned a certain value. The goldsmiths would get paid back and they would keep the interest. These papers would add new money into the system. Fast forward to 2025. The goldsmiths are now banks. The money that you see in your account isn't actually real money, but it's simply sort of like a note that says the bank owes you. But why do banks do this? Well, let's say that you used that loan. Well, that transaction then led to thousands of other transactions, fueling businesses and providing us with goods. But then can't banks just create an infinite amount of money? Well, the thing is, more money doesn't always equal more productivity. If new money is added into the system, but new items aren't being made, then the price of those items go up. Another word for all of this is inflation. This means that banks have to limit the amount of money that they make. Now let's talk about bonds. In order to make money, let's say the US for example, they make bonds. Other countries can then purchase these bonds, making the US a bit richer. However, they are now in debt to that country.